The education and empowerment of women throughout the world cannot fail to result in a more caring, tolerant, and peaceful life for all. This was remarked once by Aung San Suu Kyi. Good evening, everyone. It's a delight to have you all here for the episode 4 of the Lady Baazigar series. Women empowerment has a pivotal role in any society, state, or any nation. It's a woman who plays a dominant role in the basic life of a child, who are society's next generation. Women are an important section of our society, and education as a means of empowerment for women can bring a positive attitudinal change. And through this Lady Bazigar series, Project Korea drives you to discover your motivating force to get educated and to get empowered and to get economically independent, to identify your strengths and achieve greater heights and stop not until your goal is reached. Now I would like to invite Devika to enlighten us about sarkarischool.in and Project Korea.
Thank you, Maitri. Hi, everyone. Talking about Sarkari School, it is an initiative of We Citizen Foundation. It is a think tank that provides platform to highlight the hard work of individuals in the field of school education, uplifting the future of younger generations and those who are not related to government or any organization but are helping the neglected strata of Indian society. These peculiar innovators redefined the field of education with a lot of self determination and hard work, and thus deserve recognition. Sarkari School works on featuring unsung people who are underrated in this society. We give a platform to those people who have worked for betterment of school education with a holistic point of view. Individuals who genuinely help government schools and underprivileged kids should have a voice and a proper appreciation for their dedication and hard work. We at Sarkari School help them eradicate the dichotomy that exists between private and public sectors of education. The neglected strata of society needs attention. Coming to Project Guria, gender inequality has been experienced all over the world for ages. Though it has decreased over time, still many women all across the world face many kinds of discriminations. Women are still being discriminated against in terms of various aspects as compared to their male counterparts. The primary aspect in terms of gender inequality has been experienced in education. Our project aims at increasing the enrollment of girls in the elementary and primary education in government schools. We help the government institutions to build a safe learning space by spreading awareness and organizing donation drives. The project envisions to reduce the poor sex ratio in the classroom and support the little girls, gurias as we call them, to follow their dreams. Handing it back to Maitri.
Thank you, Devika. Now I would like to invite Advitya for the welcome address.
Thank you, Maitri. Good evening, everyone. Firstly, I would like to thank all of you for joining us for the fourth episode of Lady Baazigar series. Under this series, we conduct one-on-one interviews with girl icons who are currently pursuing or have completed their higher education, despite facing social, emotional, or financial hardships throughout the journey. Lady Baazigar is a platform for these icons to share about their story, passion, goals, dreams, and success mantras with all the young aspiring girls out there. Today, we are delighted to have with us Miss Soumya Singhal. Miss Soumya is the founder of Girla Prize that aims to achieve better menstrual hygiene management and legal literacy amongst the underprivileged. A policy researcher and gender equality advocate, she works in the public policy space and the social sector to find synergies and solutions for persisting problems. Thank you so much, ma'am, for gracing the event with your presence.
Thank you, Advitya. I'm really delighted to hear from you, ma'am. I'm glad to be moderating the episode today. And being a political science student myself, I'm thrilled to get to know more about the scope, and that's fair. And I hope we all be brimming with enthusiasm after digging in more about your journey and experiences. So, firstly, how are you, and how are you looking forward for this episode today?
Hi, Maitri. Hi, Devika. Hi, Vidya. First of all, I would really like to thank Project India and Sarkari School Initiative for calling me and giving me a platform to actually talk about my journey and my work, but also being a platform wherein I can learn a lot about other people's journey. And I am honestly really excited to be here, and I'm really excited to not just talk about myself, but also engage in a conversation that could perhaps help people beyond this particular Zoom call, people who are watching us on YouTube or any other live stream, any other platform, but also people who might someday come across this particular interview and just maybe pick a couple of things.
That's really nice. So now we would love to hear about your whole journey from a school-going Soumya to being a research associate and gender equality advocate.
So I would say my school journey has been fairly usual. I I was someone who did her curriculars, who got good grades, who also vehemently participated in co-curricular activities. I was doing poetry, I was doing drama, anything I could get my hands onto. And I think it was the whole mixture of within the classroom and beyond classroom learning that has molded me into the person I am today. And it also kind of coupled with a spirit of initiative that I very early on have tried to imbibe in myself as a school student to actually take charge of what I want to do and finally deliver on it. Um, and I think one very interesting thing in my educational and career journey is the fact that I am a very social sciences student, but I come from a very chartered accountant based household. So I've had accountants and I've had engineers in my family. And I am the first one in a couple of generations at least to very seriously pursue social sciences. I made it very clear that I wanted to pursue humanities in 11th and 12th. I then made it very clear that I wanted to pursue political science in my graduation, even though there was like a whole battle between, you can also do economics because you have the mindset for it, you have the skills for it. And I went, yes, I do, but and I want a part of me does want to take up, say, economics, but that's not what I'm aiming for right now. That's not what an 18-year-old Soumya has become. She has become a political science person. So she is going to pursue political science at the end of the day. And I think my bachelor's has made me into a more social sciences person than I thought I was possible in terms of. So I did my major in political science. I did my minor in sociology, and then I did a diploma in conflict and peace studies. Again, very social sciences based. And I think as and when I progressed, I realized that I did not want to follow the traditional social sciences and political science path. I did not want to take up civil services, which was again a segue into what was initially planned out by other people for me, or they thought I would plan out even on my own self, for my own self. I was really into reading, I was really into researching and looking up things. And I realized that there exist problems, there exist gaps, not just in terms of the society we are and the qualitative things, but also there exist gaps on paper in terms of what, say, the government is trying to do for people, what organizations are trying to do for people. I wanted to be a person who helps fulfill that gap, but I also wanted to do research. And academia is not something that I'm highly inclined to. So I thought, okay, what would combine both of these things? And I came across policy, public policy. And that is where my whole interest kind of was generated. And I was lucky enough to pursue it professionally and actually become a research associate, someone who would take up the technical skills of research, but who would also be relatively good at interpersonal skills and actually, talk to people from, say, WWF India, from people at ICER Pune, people who are very well respected in their own circles and take up partnerships and outreach while working at my current organization, SPRF India. So I guess that is what my journey has been. It's me taking another turn at yet another goalpost and kind of surprising people around me. So yeah.
That's impressive. And like being from same Indian society, and we know how parents react. Oh, you're going to take humanities, so you'll be doing civil services afterwards. You won't be doing civil services. How was that, phase when you decided like 11th May you are taking humanities? And how did you convince your parents? Because obviously, I feel so. There are limited scope. At least we are not aware at, of the prospect in humanities at 11th standard. our parents are not aware because they are mostly from science or commerce backgrounds, as in your case. So, was it easy to convince them, or like, what did you do?
It wasn't, fortunately, it wasn't extremely hard. They were okay with me taking up humanities. It did come with certain bargains. So I am one of those rare cases wherein I took humanities, but I also had math. I had maths and I had economics. And again, that was the bargain part of it. I did not complain a lot about the fact that I also do have to do math. But the convincing part did not take a lot. It was just me being adamant and me sitting them down and telling them that other options will not work for me. I will go through it. I might even be good at it, but I might not be as happy as I could potentially be while doing humanities or while doing political science. And then graduation rolled in, and they were like, okay, what do you want to do? And I said, I don't want to do civil services. I want to do public policy. And that was also a conversation we've had in, say, the second year of my college. And they're like, are you sure? And I'm like, yes. They're like, okay, fine, we'll bring this conversation back up in a couple of months and maybe we'll convince her into doing civil services. My father, I think, he probably is still hopeful that I might end up doing civil services. Too bad, that train is long gone. But what I did in very typical Soumya fashion is, I have become a very organized person in terms of using, say, documents and using Google Sheets to document things and plan things out. I'm big on planning. What I did, I made um, I made a plan that I graduate college, I will work, I will go for my master's. These are the colleges I will apply to. These are the courses I want to apply to. This is how I will apply. There is an Excel sheet with me. You have any questions? I can run you through it. And I sat them down and I did that. And I did it with my sister, I did it with my mother, I did it with my father. My sister, because it was a pilot survey kind of thing. It was just a rundown, like, hey, this is my plan. Do you think it will work? And she was like, oh, you really have thought this through a lot more than I had expected. And I'm like, yes, I did. And so by the end of the time, by the end of this whole process of convincing, it did not just I couldn't only just put my point across to them, but I also became really even more adamant in my conviction to actually pursue public policy the way I want to. And yeah, so just Google Sheets and just putting my foot down whenever necessary. That's what got me through.
Yeah, exactly. Actually, you gained their confidence basically. Like, she has put some thought into it that she'll able to do it. That's really nice. So, was there any change key before, like in 10th you decided that you're going to take up humanities, but before, like in 10th, when your early childhood years, what did you want to be? Or was there any turning point?
I wanted to be a doctor when I was young because I liked the idea of being someone who could help people. Again, it's a very mystified version of what medicine is, but I was a kid and I would take whatever I get. And the whole idea of helping people out and perhaps even saving lives, that was very fascinating, that was very rewarding in my own vocabulary. And for the longest time I wanted to be that. I wanted to write for a very long time. So I remember in 12th, when I was 12, I told my mother that I want to be a doctor, but I also want to write fiction. And both of them did not work out. Fortunately, unfortunately, I don't know. The second part maybe was fortunate enough, but um, I was also a little unsure of perhaps um, pursuing humanities in 11th, right before we were supposed to select, because I came from a school. So I switched schools in 11th, but before I was at a smaller school that did not have that many opportunities or good opportunities for humanities. And again, my parents were skeptical that, do you want to study here? And I'm like, if we can switch schools, I can give you options. And I switched schools in 11th. I went to a school that had a far better track record of humanities students. And again, it was just like, whenever I had second thoughts, I had to remind myself that this is not a sudden decision. You're not doing it on a whim. You have thought this through. So have a little more faith in yourself.
That's really impressive. And what else? Like, I read about that the girl up club, and initially, whenever we are, taking something up, and some responsibility or leading some tasks, we are always pretentious about those decisions. So, were there any thoughts at that time, or you were like enthusiastic? No, so I'm going to do this.
Okay, so I founded Girl Prize in October 2019 with three other people from my college. And the three of us had previously worked in the social sector, in NGOs, because I mean, we have this thing, especially in the Delhi University, the NSS, the National Service Scheme. And it was so the four of us did pick it up, and we were mandated to do that. And the first year of working in the social sector and in NGO was great for us as volunteers. Eventually, all four of us, and we were working in different NGOs then. All four of us did become a position holder in our second year, and we did identify that there were certain restrictions that we faced while functioning, while leading teams, because of institutional, uh, you know, mandates, because of other things, because of external things. And we realized that we want to work on it, but we also want to work on it in the social sector and to empower women on our own terms. So if and Girl Up campaign itself was gaining traction in India, especially in the Delhi University. And so we read up on things. What is the Girl Up campaign? And we tried to kind of mold our idea of a Girl Up club into something that combines the International Girl Up campaign, but also the NGO and the social sector environment in India itself. And we were amongst the first Girl Up clubs to ever pop up in India. And I do realize that sometimes for college students who want to delve into social impact, they do not know why they're doing it. It looks great on paper. You've done community services. But what becomes important is to realize and to be very honest, not just to yourself, but also to people you're working with, that why are you doing it? What are your goals behind it? What is your motivation behind it? And we were able to identify that it was for reasons that went beyond us. It was for advocacy, and advocacy has been a huge component of our work at Girl Prize since its inception. Because again, we believe that conversations are important, just like Project Gudia. While you're conducting interviews, you're also having conversations, you're also putting stories out. And it is important to put stories out so that people can hear you. And even if they do not hear you, you exist beyond your own realms. You exist beyond you exist beyond a bubble. And having an own organization and having an organization itself was important so that we could be very systemic in the way we tackle problems and in the way we fulfill gaps in gender parity. And I think again, it was the whole idea of filling gaps and being very systemic about it. It aided one of our whys of why we're doing it. And I think that kind of everything and all these components kind of culminated into what finally became Girl Uprise. And our motivations pushed us to lead Girl Uprise and continue leading Girl Uprise till the present day.
And that's true. Most of the things, like being a student myself, most of the things we are doing, it's like it will look good on our CV.
Exactly.
We are going to, you don't identify your calling, ki you have to do something for the society.
Exactly.
And yeah,
And but
I'm
also,
not sure how.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
also
so
about the
sorry.
longevity. No, it's okay. It's also about the longevity of your association with anything. So if my co-founder and I have run an organization for almost 3 years, it just kind of means that maybe we're not doing it for our CV. We're doing it because we're invested. And we have people who've been here for a year and a half. We have people who are graduating college and still want to continue with the organization in some capacity. And I think that is very rewarding. And it feels very good, especially to me, and especially as a founder.
I'm not sure how many of us watching this today are aware of the Girl Up campaign and the Girl Up clubs, and especially, like you have founded the Girl Up Prize. There are many like Girl Up West and Girl Up Delhi. So what's the difference? Like, what? Yeah.
Okay. So the Girl Up campaign is an international campaign, and it was founded by the United Nations Foundation in around 2010. And it was so that different UN agencies could actually help and focus on adolescent girls and their growth. So it's for high schoolers and for college students. And what it does, the Girl Up campaign itself, it looks into the untapped potential and power of girls, and their skills, their rights, and their opportunities. It's creating leadership, and it's equipping girls and women with agency. So what you're doing is, it's basically, again, and there are different ways of doing that, of creating agency, of building leaders. You can do it through say leadership development programs, through community engagement, through fundraisers, through projects. But at the end of the day, it's basically a community and a network of leaders who are trying to build and give way to more leaders. That is what Girl Up campaign in its essence is. And then again, so the Girl Up campaign has different clubs and communities across the planet. And we have Girl Up Delhi, which is the Delhi community chapter of Girl Up India. We have girl ups in different colleges, in different colleges within the Delhi University, in different universities in India and abroad. But then again, at the end of the day, they all come under the umbrella of Girl Up campaign.
That's indeed a noble initiative by the UN, and it's really exciting. And you go and you're just undergraduate students. You're founding something like clubs, and associating yourself with the UN campaigns. And further, how has your experience been leading the Girl Up Club? And now, as you're out of your college and working professionally, are you contributing to that club? And how did you balance your academics really while your graduation?
So
Some
I think
tips.
founding Girl Up Rise and running Girl Up Rise has been immensely rewarding for me. It's been so interesting to just learn from so many people, because you have a team of say 50 people, and there are times when all 50 of us are sitting on a call and we're bouncing off ideas, we're building up projects, and somebody comes up with a very innovative idea that nobody might have thought of it. At least I might not have thought of it. And it's just constantly learning and reverberation of so many ideas and so many thoughts. And it's the whole idea of building together something that people can be proud of. I mean, for sure, I founded the club, but there are so many people who are proud to be members of that club, who are proud of the work we're doing, which again is very rewarding to me as a founder. And I'm still leading the club. Even I've been working for a year now out of college, and I still am leading the club. And it's been interesting to. So the good thing about doing a lot of things in college and beyond is you learn transferable skills. So whatever I learned in my academics, I applied at my job, because that's one of the reasons I got the job. But I also apply those very things to Girl Up Rise. I also have honed interpersonal skills in college that I applied to again my job and to Girl Up Rise. There are things where I've learned at SPRF India at my job, and I apply them to Girl Up Rise. I take stuff from Girl Up Rise and I apply it in SPRF India, and it's a lot of cross learning, a lot of opportunities to put one idea in another place, another idea in another place. And I think the whole coordinating and managing things is something that I have learned over the years, because I've always been someone who does not do one thing. In fact, this professor of mine very, very blatantly told me, Soumya, you're not the kind of person who would sit still ever, right? And I'm like, yes, you're true. You're correct. You're absolutely correct. But that again is a testament to the fact that I've learned to juggle things. And it's again about being organized. So as I mentioned that I pulled up a whole Excel sheet of my future plans for my master's and for my job. It's not as extensive and elaborate as an Excel sheet, but there are ways in which you can organize yourself, in the ways in which you can organize your day. So for me, my best friend right now is my Google Calendar, which is color coded with different things. And I think it's about organizing your tasks, and it's about prioritizing your tasks that helps you get through, be it in college, be it beyond college, be it curricular or extracurricular, because chances of you doing just one thing at a time might not be that high. So it's best if you learn to juggle.
And I could, very adamantly or, convictedly say that Soumya Singhal is the name for multitasking. I really loved your LinkedIn profile. And, being from same course, I'm a third year student of all science majors. So, I was like, I have to do more internships. And, I texted my friend, okay, Mecca, we are founding something. Let's start, the Girl Up Club from Gargi chapter. I guess we have one, but I haven't really been, in touch with that. So, how's
Even if you don't
like through
found something, even if you don't have multiple internships, it's completely okay. You'll juggle your own things and you'll learn your own way.
Okay. And we talked about like your education, career, and profession. So, what are your pastime activities? Like, what are your hobbies
Oh,
apart from research
I
and all?
I love reading. Again, it ties back to my profession, but I think the reading habit is also aided my profession. But I absolutely love reading, fiction, non-fiction, whatever you get me. And I love quilling. I There was this one time where I was so into quilling that every birthday, every Mother's Day, Father's Day, every anniversary, my family members used to get one card with this one wine, flowers and petals and everything and leaves, and it was just that was my gift to them for 3 years straight. And they just had to tell me, "Could you please tone it down?" And I was like, "No, this is my gift to you. Something I'm good at, something I'm learning, something I like. Take it." But I also really enjoy cooking. It's been quite cathartic so far because it's a very good stress buster because your hands are moving, your body is moving, you're doing multiple things. In fact, I remember a year back, I was finishing my bachelor's, but I was also doing a diploma along with my bachelor's. This is the last year of it. So I had my bachelor's exam and I was working on a dissertation, and then I had my diploma exams. And every week I used to make pasta because pasta again is it's the whole process of making pasta is very cathartic to me. And I'm cooking a fresh batch of pasta and spaghetti every week. And my mother is just like, I'll let her be and let her do it because that's her coping mechanism. But yeah, reading, quilling, and cooking have been my go-to pastime activities for the longest time now.
Quilling takes a lot of patience. You make a small patch on the card, just the flower or the vines or the leaves, but it takes a lot of time. I don't. We did all those things in school, but I don't know how many of us have continued doing that. And of course, cooking is a really good pastime activity. But I don't know. Being at home, I stay in PG now, and when I come home, I'm like, don't, Mama will cook food for me. I won't enter kitchen. We are tired of doing all those things after being into college.
I did my college while staying at home. I didn't have a PG because I'm from Delhi. I went to college in Delhi, and I think it's a thing now wherein I think once a week I always cook. Because my mother will get a break, of course, from cooking, but also I'll get to do something more. And this will also be a change for the entire family to have someone else cook for them. And yeah, we've made this thing where at least once a week I am cooking. My mother's taking a break, and everyone's happy.
So throughout your education career, who has been your biggest support? Because there are times, maybe I guess we have like two, three, four of us, Devika, and we are quite if we compare, we are quite privileged to get education with no such serious obstacles or so. But there are times when even we feel low, and like you talked about your coping mechanisms, but there's some person who is like always pushing us forward.
For me, it would be my sister. She has been my support system for recently it's become even more because both of us have so she's like 5 years older and we've kind of outgrown the sibling quarrel to have a really nice friendship wherein if I want something done and I have to convince my parents, I go to my sister and I'm like, this is my game plan. Will it work out? Is it something? Should I just go for it? And she fixes my mistakes. She also tells me to tone it down when I'm being very pushy because she teaches me the fact that everything has a right time. You need to pick your battles. and you need to time your battles as well. And that's also something that my boss also has been telling me quite a lot. That Soumya, you will always have battles. You need to pick your battles. You need to pick your battles and pick the right time to have those battles. As for my education, my friends have been a really great support system, especially in college, because as you mentioned, I was multitasking in college, and there were times when I had to squeeze in a lot of things, not always in a great amount of time. And my friends and I, we used to like learn from each other. We used to teach each other. So before in and on, we would sit together and just like talk about what the course material itself is, and learn and discuss notes. And that has helped a lot in just, I won't say me passing exams, but me actually learning. And my sociology professor in the second year has been incredible in terms of, he was, um, you know how you have professors who actually encourage discourse in class, who teach you things beyond the classroom. He was that kind of a professor. So I was very fortunate to have him in my second year, especially, wherein there was a shift in the way I thought. There was a very evident and steep learning curve in my journey, and he was there to facilitate it. But again, my friends, my sister, and my professor were also and are also people who have had immense faith in me and my capabilities, and that has been really, I have been really grateful for that support system. And I am not the kind of person who has looked at a single person for inspiration, but having multiple people you can take, good qualities off and become your own person has been so far working for me.
Yeah, you take small goals at a time and you work for them. That's the best inspiration we could get from, because fixing any idol won't work for long. And you're a different kind of person. Every person is unique in itself. So, and but you are lucky, like in that professor case, we get such professors very rarely,
True, that's
who
true.
go beyond the course and who just encourage discussion in class and personally interacts, like they encourage us. That's right. So now, as you're working in the policy research field, I would really love to know, as a political science student, that how do we proceed? Like, I'm in graduation, or like the students were in graduation recently, because after in my first year of college, I have no idea. Like, I just know that either we have competitive exams as a career, or I'm pursuing academia or masters abroad, maybe. So, how's the field? If you would like to share a bit about it.
Okay, the good thing about social sciences, much like a lot of other streams, is the fact that it's very vast, right? Social scientists and people from humanities backgrounds, there are also designers, there are also academics, there are also policy researchers, there are also data analysts. There are a lot of opportunities do exist. It's it's about identifying your strong suit, and um, and the value that you add and what you bring to the table. So, for example, and again, there are two types, there are majorly two types of skills, right? Technical skills and soft skills or interpersonal skills. So, for anyone who's interested going beyond academia and civil services, and even those who are interested in those particular fields, what you need to first do is sit and identify what you're good at, and then identify what you actually like doing. Sometimes these two things might not align. Sometimes these two things will align, especially the technical part of it. And what you do is, uh, you again you kind of sit and think about your reasons for doing something, the why behind it. So, for example, when I say that I want to do public policy and I want to be a public policy researcher, but also, build out in partnerships and actually talk to people and outreach part of public policy, what I'm saying is I have identified a technical skill, which is A, research, policy research and writing, and B, communications. Communications is also my interpersonal skills. I'm also fairly good at thinking quickly on my feet. I'm also an organized person. What I'm doing is I am identifying technical and soft skills, and I'm building a profile that is suitable to me. Then what I do is I sit and read through things. So when I was thinking about my career prospects and my further education, I did a very thorough internet search. I looked at career prospects for humanities students. I looked at what is something that, again, it comes with looking at things that already exist, but also identifying things that you can maybe create. And what I identified is that I like giving solutions. I like researching, I like reading. I also like giving solutions. I also like communicating. And what happens and how do you do that? How do I fulfill all those goals? I came across public policy. It's, again, as I said, identifying your strengths and then building a profile for yourself and then identifying whatever exists that can suit your profile and your ambitions. But again, the social sciences are a vast field. There are like a huge, there are a lot of career opportunities. There's academia, and there is absolutely no finite point to academia because you can always identify gaps. You can always come up with research. It does get exhausting after a certain point, but it's about innovation. It's about innovating a lot of things, and if you have the knack for it, go ahead and do it. There's also civil services. Again, a lot of people do give flack to civil services because of say the rigid nature that they've had in the past. But it's a great career prospect if you're into it. If you want to go for it, go for it. There's also public policy, and even within public policy, there are researchers, there are communicators, there are people who are working on outreach, there are editors, there are designers. Because even if you look at a think tank does not just publish research. The people there do not just research and write. There is a team of editors who goes through whatever is being produced. There is a team of designers and communication specialists who put it out for the world to see. They also host events. So that means, again, there are people who are into events and outreach. Again, one particular sector borrowing multiple people and multiple profiles from the social sciences. In fact, corporates, they also require social scientists. So places like Gartner, places like Dalberg do actively hire social scientists and anthropologists for research purposes, especially because social science is one field wherein you're very extensively, if you're lucky enough, and if you've reached that stage, you're taught sampling, you're taught primary field work. And a lot of times organizations do need that. And they go to social sciences people to look for personnel and people who can actually, fulfill those qualities. And something that's been gaining a lot of traction lately is social impact consultancy. Something like Samagra, something like Dalberg, something like Sattva. They are, again, a, a bunch of them are social scientists. They come from economics and political science and sociology background. They're also into the social sector, but they're also consultants, which is a very unique, very interesting mix of profiles that has developed over time. But it, again, it's gaining traction. It's gaining a lot of and again, it is in need of people, and social scientists and people from social science and humanities are the ones who will be filling that gap, because to devise solutions to problems, you need human element because you're offering solutions for humans. So that, I guess, is an overview of what you can take up as a career in social sciences.
And you're working as a research associate as a full-time job. So how did you get through, the jobs through the placement cell, or, how those things work? We are really unaware about that.
Okay. So what I did was, again, after identification of my skill sets, I wanted to take up internships, but sometimes I would not get enough internships because I did not have experience, which is, again, a chicken and egg problem. I was into research. I could write, and I could not publish maybe at that time because of how big of a novice I was. But the fact that I could write, I could build my skills over time. So all throughout my first year and half of my second year, I just wrote papers for assignments, and I, I wrote it in teams. I wrote it with another person. I wrote it independently, and I gave them to my professors. And I asked for feedback. What is missing? What can I do better? And I did not get any internship or job from the placement cell. but I hunted for jobs on my own. I looked through, again, LinkedIn is a great way to land internships. It's a host of information is flooded on LinkedIn. You need to be a little more vigilant in the fact that I want an internship. I'll have to step up my game and actually grab opportunities. But again, it's also, so a lot of people give, so networking has become a huge thing, right? But let's just give some credit to networking, because it's, you know people who might have an opportunity that might suit you. It's a trail. It's, again, a part of it could also be to chance, but it's a trail at the end of the day. And what I did, for example, was I interned at a few places, and I kept my profile was largely similar in all of those, because I had identified by then that this is what I want to pursue and this is the path for it. And my last internship, right before my bachelor's exams, final exams, was at SPRF India. I was a research intern there for 2 months. And what happened was, um, I came back again as a full-time employee, as a research assistant, and then eventually grew into the role of a research associate. But it was about me trying to convert an internship into a full-time opportunity, and something that pushed me for me to get that job, and which I found out a little later. But my boss told me straight up, because she's someone who's been in the field for 15 years, and I work directly with, so she's the founder director of SPRF India, and I work directly with her. And what I did was I wanted to learn more about the field, but that was also a networking opportunity. That was me putting myself out there and creating connections. And I talked to a few people who were already working in the field, and I told them, this is what I want to do. Do you, I mean, I have these questions. Could you please answer them? Also, I have these skill sets. I'm looking for an opportunity. Do you have something in store for me? And I lucked out at SPRF because I talked to um, Neha Simlai, the founder director, and I had a 30-minute conversation with her. And she told me, okay, Soumya, what is holding you back? Because I was applying for internships very heavily because of simple fact that public policy in academia and research, you most of them require a master's degree. And what I did not realize is that there are a lot of upcoming institutions and organizations who might not require a master's degree, but also that my technical skills and my education background is not the only thing I have to offer. It's identifying the soft skills. So me following up with her, me reaching out to her, and me communicating whatever I communicated and the way I communicated was what was my main pitch at the end of the day. That is what she caught up. And that is when she offered me a job. And I think, again, it's, as I said, if you're gonna, hunt for a career, no matter where you are, no matter what you've done, you need to know what you can leverage when. Sometimes you cannot always leverage your technical skills, because other people will also have those technical skills. There might be certain soft skills that you have that, again, other people might have, but it's also about using those soft skills at the right time and with the right people. So that is what majorly worked for me. It was just me networking, me reaching out, just pushing myself to achieve it.
So your communication and your interpersonal skills played their part. Yeah, that's really nice to know, and I would try to apply all those things you said myself. You know, and I would love to be in touch with you, maybe through LinkedIn or personally.
Absolutely.
And yeah, so aligning with the initiative Project Gudia that works in the sphere for girls' education, what do you think that how society could be more enabling for an environment that could promote, girls' education, and the gender parity index could become one?
Okay. So a huge, a huge burden and hurdle to girls' education is existence of gender roles within households. It's it's the burden. It's a double burden of responsibilities. It's the fact that if you are, say, an elder daughter, you will be expected to take care of your younger siblings, and that has become very usual in a lot of households. It's and if there's a trade-off between, say, the education of um, a, a female child and a male child, a lot of preference is given usually to the male child. Again, that is a result of gender bias and gender roles. So I think the first thing that as a society we need to do is counter these gender biases. It's shifting the burden of responsibilities away from the girl child and then distributing that to the entirety of family, not just the male child, but also to everyone, to the parents, to whoever is available. Because you cannot ask, say, a 5-year-old girl to take care of a 2-year-old brother. And what, on a larger level, what you also need to realize, and this is not just for society in the sociological aspect of it, but also institutions, both policy, non-policy, decision-making institutions at the end of the day, that you need to fulfill material needs of people. And material needs, not just basic material needs, but also material needs that would enable education. So, for example, I think last year itself, there was a whole discussion about raising the age of marriage for girls to 21 so that they could pursue higher education. That is a very normative approach. I think almost a decade back, the Bihar government had a scheme wherein for every school going girl, I think post the age of 13, they would provide cycles so that these girls could actually travel to school. At one point, we have normative steps taken to actually advocate for equality. On the other hand, we have substantive steps taken to actually advocate for education of women and girls. So what you need at the end of the day is catalysts that would drive forth substantial change, substantive change. You can't have norms dictating things for a very long time, be it positive, be it negative. Negatives ones work wonderfully, as we've seen so far. Positive ones do not, because something is holding them back, the negative norms. What you need is to break out of a cycle, to break out of a bubble. And a lot of materiality is attached to breaking down that bubble, to breaking out of that very cycle. So again, to create a more enabling environment, you need to change the societal makeup a little in terms of shifting responsibilities away from girl child and gender roles itself, but also fulfilling material needs and providing catalysts for substantive change that will drive forth female education.
Indeed, there needs to be a restructuring of the gender roles, as well as more effective policy intervention in that area. Lastly, as we come, it's almost time. We have taken a lot of your time already. What would you like to say as parting remarks for all the young aspiring girls watching this episode today?
So this one for girls especially is a lot of times women in general are made to question what they can do and what they can not do, but what they can also achieve. And I am not saying that you go headstrong and counter that. What I am saying is, A, have confidence in whatever you think that you have your own strengths. Pick your battles well, and pick a right time for your battles, because not every battle needs to be fought, and not every battle needs to be fought all the time. It is whatever you want to achieve, you won't achieve it in 5 years or 10 years. Maybe you'll achieve it in 15 years, but you'll have a journey to that achievement, and that journey itself needs to be fulfilling, and that journey itself needs to be your learning curve. So favor that journey itself, and that's not just for ethnic girls, for anyone, and especially for young girls, yes, like youth who are trying to empower other people and create safe spaces. Just you need to be a little more aware of why spaces, and not just you, I think we in general need to be aware of why a space or the space that we hold is unsafe in the first place. And while we're doing that, while we're trying to break unsafe spaces, we also need to be aware of the fact that different people have different experiences, which is why they will adapt to different spaces differently, and just give them that time to do it as youth, as change makers, and as someone who could eventually potentially be a huge lobby. It's about being socially conscious. It's about being politically aware. And when I say politically aware, I mean not party politics, or it's about knowing your rights, knowing what you stand for, knowing who stands with you while you're doing it. And it's about holding people accountable. Since I talked about the youth and girls being lobby, advocacy comes a great way, and it comes in great shapes, and both big and small shapes. So take charge, but again, choose your battles, and just believe in yourself and know that you're not alone, because you might start alone, but hopefully down the line, someone will join you. And that could be one person, that could be 100 people, but somebody will join you. That would be my part. Those would be my parting remarks.
Thank you so much, Soumya. I hope we all have duly noted your remarks, and it's pertinent that we believe in ourselves, and as you mentioned before, time your battles as well. So
I'm so sorry. I couldn't catch your internet. Just went a little sketchy.
yeah, sorry.
I couldn't catch you in the middle. My internet was really sketchy.
Oh, so sorry. So I was saying that it's really pertinent that, we as girls, believe in ourselves, and, we have to pick our battles. And you mentioned before that we need to time our battles as well. Everything has a right time. Sometimes we feel, we are rushing things, and, we can take it a step at a time. Everyone has their own time zones.
Absolutely.
And I wish you luck for all your future endeavors.
Thank you so much. You too.
So,
Thank you for being
as
such a great host.
Even
yeah,
I would like to
as we
thank you,
come to the
Soumya. It was great hearing you, and I'm sure me and Maitri and everyone who was watching
yeah,
here got to learn so much today. It was very inspiring. I was
right,
getting messages from my friends, oh my God, she's so good. And
yeah,
it was amazing hearing you today.
Thank you so much.
absolutely. I know it was really knowledgeable, and I get to know a lot about, I didn't know pol science has so many options.
Has has a bunch of options.
Let me deliver the thanks. Yeah. So, as we come to the end of this lovely evening, prior to winding up, it's an absolute delight to deliver the vote of thanks on behalf of the organizing committee to Ms. Soumya Singhal, present here, who spared her time today with us. Thank you for the lovely session, Soumya. We're truly obliged. You are indeed our girl icon, and it's inspiration for all the, especially the political science girls who are really, worried and, cautious about their careers. Further, I would like to thank each and every one from the team, including Abhishek Ranjan sir, team lead Devika, and volunteers for organizing the event. Thank you so much. Have a great day ahead. Have a lovely evening.
Thank you. Bye bye. Thank
Bye.
you for having me.